Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Taylor. Today is December 29th, and just like that, we got another day, another week, another month, and another year in the books. Went by pretty quick, so I hope 2023 was good to you. And as you're prepping for 2024, I think you want to spend some time this weekend in the monthly charts. Now, for what it's worth, we're a little bit stretched. You look at your lower time frames like the hourly charts, the daily charts, the weekly charts. So I do think we're at a point where some sort of pullback, I would call it a buyable pullback, might make a little bit of sense. But what I'm seeing here across the monthly charts, and a lot of monthly charts, the indices, the sectors, the leading stocks, a lot of signs that party's just getting going. So one, I don't want to fight that with an assumption the market can't go higher. And then better yet, if I get a pullback and I'm still getting these monthly signals, I'm going to view that as a buying opportunity. So on the monthly chart here for the SPX, since 1980, there's been about 12 occurrences where the big three indicator prints a squeeze, it prints a buy signal, and the squeeze fires. And they tend to pack quite the punch. So we'll go back to 1980. A cool 12 years before I was born. So I hadn't joined the party just yet. But yeah, here you have it. You got the squeeze and the buy signal. Nice push to the upside. You had another one here in 1985. Fires to the upside. Nice push. Had one here in 1991. Very nice push. We had a monthly squeeze of the early buy signal back in 95. That fired to the upside. Now, you did have one back here in 2000. It didn't fire to the upside. So out of the 11 or 12 occurrences, that's the only one that didn't lead to a huge push. You had a few back here in 2005. Those worked well. You had a big one back here in 2012. One in 2016. You had one before COVID. You had one after COVID. And now here we are. So what this implies is, for the first time in about 2 years, structure, momentum, the moving averages, trend, everything fully aligned for a trend higher. Everything positioned for the path of least resistance to finally be to the upside. And we're doing that while we're firing a squeeze. So it's a pretty simple game plan on my end. Until they cancel out that monthly buy signal, I think we're looking for a push here towards that extension, which is right around that 5100. And then if you jump over to the IWM, granted, not as clean as the SPX, but you do got a little monthly squeeze action here as well. We don't have the official buy signal just yet. We're getting what I would call the slingshot signal. That can take the IWM back towards 240-ish. Jumping over to the Dow Jones, and all 30 of the Dow stocks, that looks like a monthly squeeze about to fire to the upside. If they can trigger that, you're looking for about 397-ish. And then I actually think the biggest one, now granted, my watch list is mainly tech stocks. So I'm watching the Googles, the Nvidias, the Teslas, the Microsofts, the Nvidias. But I do think you want to watch the monthly squeeze here in the RSP. This is your equal weighted index. Everything in the 500, or the S&P 500 on an equal weighted basis. So you don't have the influence of a few big tech stocks. Where with the SPY, I think the first 5 or 6 holdings make up for like 20% of the basket. So the RSP here, we're getting the early buy signal. If they can cross momentum and get the official buy signal, that sets up a path for the RSP to hit 175, 180. And from that, I think you're going to get participation from things outside of big tech. Now, granted, I'm going to trade pretty much big tech primarily. But if that can fire, I think you're looking for energy, financials, industrials, healthcare. I think things outside of the Mag 7 should do pretty well. But yeah, you jump from the RSP to the small caps to the Dow to the S&Ps. And then even a few of the stocks here. One name that we're currently long is Google. Now, Google's got a beautiful weekly squeeze, so I actually think that's the focus. But if you look at the monthly chart, you had 1 month of a squeeze, so I don't think as legit as a 3, 4, 5 dot squeeze, but nonetheless, you had a squeeze. That fired to the upside. And then Amazon. I think Amazon's got a path back towards these previous highs. They break momentum. They break the structure, taking the 21 under the 50. And now they're working on those issues. So for the first time in 2 years, Amazon cranking out that monthly buy signal actually puts it in a position to trend higher. So whether it's Amazon, the QQQ, the S&Ps, that's been a big missing dynamic for the last 2 years. You've had some good-looking daily charts, you've had some good-looking weekly charts. They haven't had the monthly charts in the point where they can actually trend higher. That is until now. So be very mindful of those squeezes setting up in the background. Nothing goes up in a straight line. So like I said towards the beginning of the video, given the fact we got all these monthly squeezes and all these monthly buy signals, I think a pullback is a total gift. Assuming, of course, that pullback finds some support and holds structure. But I think the biggest signal heading into Q1 is going to be the monthly squeeze there on the S&Ps. And if that thing can fire and head back up towards... I'm looking for 5,100. So if that can fire and carve out a path towards 5,100, that should take most things with it. So I've got 4 picks for you. Watch the S&Ps first. If they can continue to let off all that built-up energy here, I think these 4 picks should do pretty well. All right, so the first pick is Tesla. And you got a few squeezes here, so keep this in your back pocket. A little bit more down the road, we do have a monthly squeeze with the early buy signal. So is it perfect just yet? It's not perfect. If everything continues to progress as it's progressing, that could end up being a perfect squeeze. At which point, that target's going to be 400 to 408. So keep that in your back pocket. I think a bit more of an actionable setup between now and call it March or April would be the weekly squeeze, which is a thing of beauty on the Big 3. Big 3 score is a perfect 10 out of 10. We got an A+ setup, so a squeeze, a buy signal, a good entry. Until they cancel out that weekly buy signal, I'm looking for 300 to about 305. So we got some March expiration call debit spreads. And then Google here, we got some February expiration debit spreads. And we're up there at 150, 155. Beautiful weekly squeeze. 10 out of 10 on the Big 3 score. A+ setup. Really, really good stuff. And I think really straightforward. In the context of a weekly squeeze, if they keep on cranking out that green bar, they keep cranking out that green arrow, looking for 150, 155-ish. Just give these trades time. I think that's the real key. If you pull up a daily chart of the QQQ is like 3 ATR above that daily 21. Do we have to pull back? No. Would a pullback be the craziest thing? Also, no. So while I like these weekly squeezes, I don't want to back myself into a corner where I've got 2 or 5 or 10 days till expiration. Find a good squeeze, get a good entry, and I think if you're picking these up sometime next week or the next few weeks, March or April should be a sweet spot. March or April, do something out the money, and do it up there at that upside target. So I'm liking Google into 155-ish, and then the next pick here is going to be NVIDIA. Now, the interesting thing about NVIDIA is how much has been lagging behind. QQQ fired a weekly squeeze, SMH fired a weekly squeeze, AMD's been on a tear, Broadcom made a nice move. Our old pal NVIDIA here has been a little bit more in hibernation. But check out this pattern. Back in October, they break momentum, so they take momentum below the 0 line. They don't do anything to structure. The break in momentum has no negative impact on the structure. 200 trending higher, the 50 is trending higher, the 21 is trending higher, 21 above the 50, 50 above the 200. What that typically signals is a break in the action, as opposed to a true reversal of that trend. From there, if they can get momentum back through 0, you should see that squeeze fire to the upside. So that is what I'm looking for, and we are out in March expiration with a 550, 560 call debit spread. And I actually think NVIDIA might have a little bit more upside, but I'm not going to be a pig. I will take 550. And then my last pick for you is Microsoft. I don't have any exposure here just yet, but I am going to keep an eye on it next week. Going back about a month ago, you had a really nice weekly squeeze, which fired to the upside. And now I'm thinking potentially the brand new daily squeeze might give you continuation higher, with a little bit of patience. It's another example of momentum breaks. Structure remains perfect. So even though momentum is below zero, look at the big three score. The Bulls get 8 points out of 10. The Bears get 1 point. That's pretty bullish. Only thing missing is momentum. So if they can get that off the floor, get that up there to and through the zero line, I think that leads to a breakout. So what I'm waiting for a trigger, I'm not going to wait for the official daily buy signal. What I'm going to try to do is kind of sneak my way in there a little bit earlier if they can flip the 4-hour squeeze bullish. Big 4-hour squeeze, structure's decent. Decent structure. I think they get that to fire to the upside if they get that momentum cross. So in due time, I am looking for a spot here in Microsoft to play for a push towards 385, 390. In Google, I'm looking for 150, 155 between now and February, March. Tesla, I'm looking for 300-ish between now and March. And then NVIDIA, we're looking for that big 550. But all right, y'all, thank you for all your time and effort this week. This week and this year. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, we appreciate it. If you're a part of any of the rooms here at Simpler, we certainly appreciate that. I wish you all a happy new year. I wish you all the best of luck in 2024, and I'll talk to you soon. Adios.